Welcome everyone to tonight's Salveses Financial Saturday Night Live. Sino dito ang Team Pinaasa? Kaway, press 1 kung dumaan na kayo sa nakakalokang prosesong ito. Only to find out, when you are loving the message, pero only to find out later on that everything was for the press release. Well, we are talking today about the 11.8% gross domestic product. On the one hand, being finally out of recession is a hopeful message. It's a good thing, right? Or paasa lang ba ito? We will be joined tonight by a PhD candidate and a teaching fellow at the UP School of Economics, a Rappler columnist and co-founder of Usapang Econ. For our stock spotlight of the week, kasama naman natin ang Senior Research Supervisor of Philstocks Financial. Kaya stay tuned! Walang kukurap! This is Salve Duplito, your host for tonight with my partner, Warren De Guzman. Warren?
Partner Salve, we are Empower and Transform, a company that aims to provide financial education to those who need it most. This is Salve Says Saturday Night Live, and we are live on YouTube and Facebook. Send us your Kumu gifts and super chat and stickers on YouTube to get your questions answered first. Every gift helps us spread financial literacy to every corner of the internet and combat.
Nako, nag-freeze yata si partner Warren. So medyo, medyo tayo, medyo pa-suspense ng konti. But what he's saying was we are combating not just scams but ignorance also. So bago natin simulan ang financial hugot moments ni Salve, let's talk about the process of financial planning. Ano nga ba ito talaga? Well, not everyone gets love in their lives. Ayan, ako, bumalik na si partner Warren. Saktong-sakto. Tinatanong ko na partner ko. Oo nga, baka
Team Paasa ako sa internet connection.
Totoo yan. Kailangan natin magbayad ng bill.
Kakabayad ko lang. Ano ba yan? Nakakainis, di ba? Kakabayad ko lang. Ay,
correct. Partner Warren, kanina nung nawala ka, sabi ko pagsisimula natin yung show ng pag-uusap tungkol sa financial planning. At sabi ko nga, not everyone gets love in their lives. Unlike you have forever and other people also have, pero hindi lahat. Pero ang pera, forever natin kailangan. Oh, may hugot ako agad.
Sadly. Oh.
So, financial planning is not just nice to have, it's also a must. Ang problema kasi partner, complicated masyado yung proseso ng financial planning. Kaya ang laban natin sa Empower and Transform to teach everyone that financial plans are cool and they are not just for the rich. In fact, they are more critical para dun sa gustong maging rich.
Totoo yan, partner Salve. In fact, while financial plans are different for every individual, iba-iba per person, there are some things that we can actually all do to make our own personal financial plans work. So ito na yung mga tips natin, okay? First, be clear about your why and when. Why do you make money? What is the money for? If you want something like a house, what kind of house do you want? If you want a happy retirement, what does that mean for you? Anong gagawin nyo with your partner after tapos na kayo magtrabaho? Gusto niyo na ba ng bahay sa beach? Gusto niyo ba ng bahay sa Tokyo or condo sa Tokyo? Diba? Gusto niyo ba ng beachfront property sa Florida sa US, 'di ba? Yun ba yung mga gusto niyo? That will all shape your financial plan. Travel overseas once a year o gusto niyo ba every month? Yan si Salvi kayang-kaya niya every month. Nako. Loaded yan, 'di ba? When do you want to get all of these? Yan, isa pa yan, importante yan sa timing and yung sa planning mo. So the goal setting is something that we are very big on in Empower and Transform. All the numbers in your financial plan would be based on your why and when.
Parang ang dami kong gusto. Second naman, para sa mga nandyan na kumakaway-kaway sa akin sa Kumu na gusto nila daw matuto kung paano mag-financial planning, ang pangalawang step, find your starting point. So ngayon, alam mo na ano yung why mo, kailan mo ito gusto, and then find your starting point. That usually begins with creating your own statement of assets and liabilities. Ito nakikita natin to sa news lagi, 'di ba? Pero hindi lang dapat government officials ang may statement statement of assets and liabilities, dapat actually tayong lahat. It sounds technical, pero it's really just 2 columns of what you have and what you owe. Ganun lang naman talaga kasimple yon. Anong meron ka, ano yung kailangan mong bayaran. Then, update this every year. Ay nako, it's a liberating experience talaga. Nako, nagfi-freeze pa din yata. Team Paasa pa din yung internet connection ng aking partner. Kaya idediretso ko na dun sa pangatlo sa listahan natin is create a list of your financial priorities. 'Di ba? Nagsimula ka na with your goals sa simula, your why, and then alamin mo kung saan ka magsisimula. Tapos ililista mo na yung mga financial priorities mo based on importance. Example, number 1, pay down debt. Yun ang pinaka-importante talaga. Number 2, build an emergency fund. Make a wedding fund. Save for a house. Save for travel. Build a health fund. Make a retirement fund. Iba-iba yan. Depende sa tao. Pero napaka-importante na klaro sa isip natin yung listahan natin ng ating financial priorities. O, press 1 dyan sa baba kung nakakahabol pa ba kayo. Nakakatulong ba ito sa inyo? Please comment para alam natin kung tuloy-tuloy natin gagawin ang mga ganitong tips para sa inyong lahat. Ayan, syempre, the usual, si Carla, nandyan, ang ating mga usual classmates, nakikinig sa Kumu, Facebook, and YouTube. Okay, so, pakatapos natin na lista yung financial priorities, eto na po, write down in your notebook. Magsimula tayong gumawa ng personal system of financial jars. At itong financial jars natin, it will guide our spending for our current needs and our financial priorities. Ang basic jars para sa mga ordinaryong Pilipino ay 5. Yung isa survival jar, yung isa thriving jar, yung isa big brain jar, yung isa fun jar, and giving jar. Hindi po ito sa amin original. Meron na pong ibang financial advisors na gumagawa nito. Pero ni-revise ko po ito kasi base dun sa mga alam ko based on my 25-year experience. Ito yung mga jars na kailangan natin. Ano ba yung survival jar? Necessities na kailangan mong pagkagastusan. Mga 60% ng ating total income dapat nandoon. Yung thriving jar, anything above and beyond your survival jar, mga 25% dapat ng ating total income ang pumupunta dyan. So sa survival jar, kasama na po doon yung emergency funds. Sa thriving jar naman, yun yung mga travel fund na natin, di ba? We need that to be happy, pero kailangan mas maliit yun kaysa sa necessities natin. Yung third jar, big brain jar, kailangan aakyat kasi yung income natin every year kung fini-feed natin yung ating brain. So dito natin naglalagay ng budget kung paano natin i-retrain at i-reskill yung ating sarili every year para mas mataas yung magiging income natin in the future. 7% dapat ng ating total income nandyan. At ito ang gusto ng lahat, dapat meron ding fun jar or kaya gusto mo may giving jar ka rin. Pwedeng yung fun jar, 5% of your total income, yung giving jar, 3%. So all of these things guide you on how to monitor and how to spend your money. You can add as many jars as you like, 'di ba? Para ma-customize mo yung financial plan para sa sarili mo. Guys, talagang pinaasa na lang ako. Pinaasa na lang talaga ako ng partner ko kaya dediretso ko na to kasi parang wala pa din siya. Okay, and finally, the last step dito sa ating simplified financial planning process, execute your plan, and then don't forget to live a great life. It can be a bit more complicated than all of these 5 steps. That is why Empower and Transforms Financial Advisors, kami po ay nagke-create ng customized financial plan for anyone who needs it, and you don't need millions of pesos for us to take time to sit down with you and think about how to create your own financial plan. So guys, DM is the key. Message nyo lang po talaga kami. Ayan, nandito na sila. O, nagpe-press 1 silang lahat sa Kumu. Kung kailangan ninyo ng financial plan at kailangan ninyo ng tulong, DM lang kayo sa amin. This is a great journey. We are excited to share with you. And now, let's call on our first guest na. JC Punongbayan is a PhD candidate and teaching fellow at the UP School of Economics. He graduated summa cum laude and valedictorian from from UPSE in 2009 and was awarded the Jose Encarnacion Jr. Award for Excellence in Economics and the Gerardo P. Sicat Award for Best Undergraduate Thesis. Grabe. Alam nyo ba guys, nung nasa UP ako, pangarap ko talaga mag-econ. Kaya lang, natakot ako sa math. So ngayon, ang trabaho ko, math pa rin. He obtained his MA degree from UPSE in 2013 and has since taught there as a lecturer and teaching fellow. He has worked in the Securities and Exchange Commission, the World Bank Office in Manila, the FEU Public Policy Center, and the NEDA. JC writes a weekly economics column for Rappler.com and is also co-founder of Usapang Econ and co-host of the Usapang Econ podcast. Sir JC, come up on the stream. Hi!
Hello, Salve. Magandang gabi. Maraming salamat sa imbitasyon.
Grabe, parang nung nagsisit-in kasi ako sa class ni Solita Monsod nung ako ay hindi nga nung nasa UP ako nung graduate na ako. Kasi, di ba, I got into business reporting. So, from time to time, sinasabi ko, ayan na, yung UP Eco, nandito nakikinig. Sabi ko, from time to time, tinatawagan ko si ma'am. Sabi ko, ma'am, gusto ko pang matuto. Sabi niya, mag-sit-in ka sa klase ko. So, graduate na ako, nagsisit-in ako. Ikaw, ang bata-bata mo pa. Nagtuturo ka na dun. Grabe naman.
Nagpapanggap lang akong bata, Salve.
Buti ka nga. Di maganda yan, baby face, di ba? Ngayon, alam mo naman to na lumabas nga yung gross domestic product na number na 11.8%. Para sa ating mga manonood, alam na ninyo na parang ito ang temperature ng ekonomiya. Pagka, di ba, pagka gusto mo malaman kung healthy ang economy, there's one number top of mind that you look at. Of course, it will require many other numbers like inflation and many other things. Pero yung GDP, this is the queen of all. Tapos, medyo mataas. Alam mo ba, JC, nung lumabas yun, ang dami nag-text sa akin, totoo ba to? Totoo ba to? And everybody was saying, wow, we're out of the recession. So, ang question, happy ka ba dito? Or paasa lang ba tong number na to? Ano ba yung sinasabi mong base effect?
Yes, alam mo, sabi kung merong isang statistic na paasa, ito na sigurong 11.2%. Kasi medyo mapanlin lang siya. Well, kung matatandaan ninyo, bago yung pandemic, masaya na tayo sa growth rate na 6 or 7%. Pero ngayon, double digit. At ang huling panahon na nakaranas tayo ng double digit ay 1988 pa yata. So mahigit na 3 dekada ng nakaraan. Pero mapanlin lang siya, paasa siya dahil nagagaling kasi parang pag sinusukan mo yung GDP growth, ito ay percent change lang naman. At ang pinanggagalingan nito ay kinukumpara natin yung GDP nung second quarter ng taong ito dun sa GDP noong nakaraang taon. Dito nagsimula yung lockdown, yung pandemic. So mababa talaga yung pinanggagalingan natin. So konting improvement lang ay malaking growth talaga ito. So you might say na overstated or wag masyadong masilaw dun sa 11.8% na yun.
Hindi naman siya fake, no? Kasi di ba Warren, may mga naglalabas ang ganyang totoo ba to, fake ba to, ganyan. Hindi naman, di ba? Totoo naman siya na numero.
Totoo naman siya, pero kailangan mo ng konting paghimay dun sa datos para ma-appreciate mo talaga kung ano yung sinasabi niya.
Ayun, ito si partner Warren is also an expert in data reporting. O, di ba? Magsama kayong dalawang nerd. Ako, I find nerds very cool.
Ayun, sorry I got cut dahil sa connection ko. Pero regarding that, yung sa 11.8%, kung tignan natin, I mean, if you look at all the economists, everybody was expecting it would be high because of the base effect nga, no? I mean, breaking it down for the common, for the layman, yung sinabi mo, totoo, di ba, na we're coming from a low base. Ang pangit na nangyari nung second quarter, kaya nga ganun kalakas yung growth ng economy compared to the second quarter last year. However, kung tignan nyo, lahat ng mga ekonomista, they were expecting something around 10.4% growth, di ba? Malaki na rin yun, double digit. Pero nakuha pa rin natin 11.8%. So what does that say? What does that tell you?
Yes, well actually isa itong mathematical quirk na kasi for example kung isipin mo kung meron kang income for example na 40,000 pesos kada buwan at bumaba yun ng 50% ng alahati so 20,000. So magkano na lang yung kailangan mo para makabalik sa 40,000? 50% nga ba? Actually, ang sagot ay hindi. Kulang siya, di ba? 50%. Kailangan 100% na growth rate para makabalik ka lang doon sa dati mong kita. So, ganun
Alam
din
mo,
yung GDP, di ba?
yes,
Yeah,
JC, alam mo, nakakatuwa ngayon kasi ganyan din sa stock market, di ba? If your stock lost 50%, it doesn't mean na to go back to the same level, you need also 50%. It's a mathematical quirk. Wala talaga
right.
makaka-explain sa kanya. You lose 50%, but you need to gain 100% just to go back to the same level
Yeah.
na previous
Yung,
level.
yeah, to your point naman, JC, sinabi rin naman ni National Statistician Dennis Mapa na hindi pa natin
Yeah.
nababalikan or nakakabalik sa level ng economy before the pandemic, no? May sinabi pa siya, malayo pa nga tayo eh. Pero yung tanong ko is regarding dun sa actual growth rate na it was expected to be large because of the low base effect. Pero 11.8% compared to 10.4%. So for you ba, is that a good sign? Are things actually improving? Kasi the economists who all clearly understand what a base effect is, they all expected na malaki yan dahil nga ang pangit ng second quarter last year, pero they all forecasted 10.4% lang.
So,
11.8%,
nag-extend pa, ay nag-exceed pa.
nag-exceed pa. So is that a good sign?
Well, for a number of reasons, Warren, hindi ako masyadong bilib dito. Unang-una, para makabalik ka doon sa last na normal na second quarter noong 2019, ay kailangan actually natin ng 20.4%. So kung tutuusin ay mababa pa pala yung 11.8% kung gusto lang natin makabalik sa pinanggalingan natin. And sinabi rin ng PSA na kung tanggalin mo yung seasonal na taas-baba ng GDP or in other words, yung seasonally adjusted GDP ang titingnan mo, actually lumiit yung ating ekonomiya from the first quarter to the second quarter by 1.3%. So pag tingnan yung graph actually parang so pataas siya ng pataas tapos bumaba, sumadsad, tapos tumaas ng konti nung nagluwag yung mga quarantine restrictions tapos bumababa ulit siya. So sinasabi ng ilan na mukhang W-shape na ang ating recession imbis na V-shape or kung anumang shape. At kung hihimay mo pa yung datos lalo, lumalabas na actually ang pinanggalingan pala nito ay yung pagbaba ng services. Yung agriculture at industry medyo nakaka-recover pero yung services kung nasaan nandun yung marami sa face-to-face interactions na apektado ng lockdown ay naapektuhan talaga. So ayaw natin na lockdown tayo ng lockdown kasi yung ekonomiya natin ay magsasuffer.
That would also lead to a big problem in the personal finance side kasi when people lose, and even on the social side, no? Kasi when people lose their jobs, lalong hindi nakakapag-aral, tapos lalong hindi mag-grow yung economy natin kung hindi natin natututukan yung education. Ang daming mga factors, ano?
Yeah, the economic scarring is really bad, especially with no face-to-face education. Pero yung sinasabi mong JC na 22%, are you expecting that to happen by in one quarter? Because I think Secretary Chua, for all that he's been saying about yung ginagawa ng government to improve the economy, he hasn't promised that will return the economy to where it was before the pandemic overnight. I think sinasabi na naman niya, aminado naman sila na 2022 pa nga.
Oo, yan din ang sabi ng World Bank and IMF, no? After this year pa naman din babalik.
At lumalabas din na sa mga recent projections na mukhang taon nang bibilangin para makabalik tayo sa track or trajectory na tinatahak natin before the pandemic. So yung mga in other words, yung ekonomiya natin in the next few years will be smaller kumpara dun sa sana yung natatamo natin kung hindi nangyari yung lockdowns, yung pandemic, etc.
So we could have done better.
Definitely, and I would argue na siguro kung mas kasi ang frame kasi ng economic managers ay health versus economy, pero lagi naming sinasabi na hindi dapat ito yung frame, dapat tratuhin ito bilang health crisis first and foremost kasi kahit na anong luwag mo sa ekonomiya sa quarantine restrictions, hanggang takot yung mga tao na lumabas ay hindi sila makakagastos tulad nung dati, so lugmok talaga yung ekonomiya.
Warren and isasama ko na si Warren sa ini-interview ko. Warren and JC, because you're both very good with numbers, especially economic numbers. So Lita Monsod said nga in her column, which came out today, na we actually lost 3 years of GDP. How do you explain that to an ordinary person? 'Di ba? Karamihan ng nanonood sa atin sa Kumu, sa Facebook, sa YouTube, di naman ekonomista. Pag sinabi ng isang former NEDA Director General, Socio-Economic Planning Secretary na we have lost 3 years. Parang 3 years na ang nakalipas pero yung size ng economy natin kapareho lang nung 3 years ago. How do you explain that to a non-economist?
Well, ang GDP lang naman kasi ay pwede mong tingnan bilang kabuang gastos sa ekonomiya, di ba? Pero habang gumagastos yung mga tao ay yung pinagbilhan mo ng produkto at serbisyo ay kumikita din siya. So sa other side of the coin, you can also think of GDP as yung kabuang income sa isang bansa. Of course, nandiyan yung mga imperfections ng GDP. Hindi naman siya sukatan ng lahat ng mga maayos na bagay sa mundo. For example, yung pollution, hindi niya nakaka-capture. Yung mga non-market goods, yung mga niluluto sa bahay, ay hindi naman binibilang yan sa GDP, pero importante din. Pero having
O
said
yung
that,
happiness natin, hindi rin niya na-measure, di ba?
ito positively correlated si income tsaka si happiness, sabi
Sa
nga ni
happiness.
Japhet, di ba? Yung a large income is the best recipe for happiness that I've ever seen, o parang ganun, di ba? pero ayun parang maganda siyang proxy dun sa ano ba yung estado ng ekonomiya, and nakakalungkot nga na malayo pa tayo dun sa pre-pandemic levels.
Yeah,
Ikaw,
alam mo,
partner
Salve,
Warren.
totoo yan. Maganda siyang proxy to the state of the economy. Pero when we go out to look for people to talk about the GDP ng economy, it's very clear to them kung anong nangyari sa kanila dahil sa pandemya. Nawalan sila ng savings, tumigil ang kanilang negosyo, nawalan sila ng trabaho. Yun yung equivalent ng nawala na 3 taon or yung nasira yung trajectory ng GDP growth. Alam nila yung nangyari kasi lahat apektado ng pandemic. So you don't have to explain this crisis anymore to them, lalo na on the side of the small businessmen, yung MSMEs, at lalo na yung mga empleyado. Kasi ramdam nila, kasama pa dyan yung inflation, na mataas talaga ngayon. So on top of them losing their savings because they weren't able to make any income during these lockdowns, tinatamaan pa sila ng mataas na inflation. So it hurts. It hurts
Yes,
talaga.
it
Hindi
does.
na kailangan i-explain.
Oo, pero yung numbers kasi coming from the government, before I bring in Japhet, no, our next guest, sabi niya, yung per capita GDP of 42,132 is less than the per capita GDP in 2017.
Yes.
So that is way before the pandemic.
Right. Oo. Ano lang yan? Simple
Ano ba
lang yan.
yung per capita GDP? Paano ba yun iintindihin?
Yung income lang per person, di ba? That's it. So if you look at yung
GDP
salaries,
divided by the
number
number of people.
of people, yes. And you look at yung quality of jobs pa lang dun sa jobs data ng government na monthly na ngayon. Makita nyo na yung average hours per week, it's actually still below yung full time. So most people are working part-time because of the pandemic. So that means they're getting part-time pay as well. So yun yung kaya bumagsak ang kanilang income per capita across the
Okay.
board, 'di ba?
Sir JC? Yes, before I bring in Japhet.
Yes, idadagdag ko lang doon na yung huling panahon kung saan nakaranas tayo ng ganito kalaking pagbaba ng GDP per capita ay nung martial law years pa, nung debt crisis nung 1980s pa. Of course, iba naman yung dahilan noon, pero parang dekada ang inabot bago natin narating yung levels nung 1982, parang mahigit 2 dekada. So, tingnan natin kung gaano katagal tayo makaka-recover dito. Pero medyo tricky din yung konsepto ng average kasi karamihan naman ng tao ay hindi average. So, mas maganda rin tingnan yung sinabi ni Warren na ano ba yung dama ng mga tao, yung nawalan ng trabaho, nawalan ng kita, yung mga negosyong nagsara. Maraming concrete manifestations itong crisis natin ngayon.
I think our next guest, Warren, will also have something to say. Parang nakikita ko sa backstage, lukso na Ready na siyang ipasok sa ring. Would you like to invite our next guest to come in?
Oh, sige. Actually, yung next guest natin, Salve, he's somebody that I haven't interviewed yet, pero I used to interview his boss, his former boss, the late June Kalaykain. He was a good friend of us and of ABS-CBN. Kaso lang nga, he passed away very recently. So it's very sad that happened. Pero I know that this person that's coming in to speak with us, he's actually the one who shouldered the load of Sir JC, si Japhet Tantiangco. He's the Senior Research Supervisor of Philstocks Financial, and his stock spotlight for this week, actually, yung isang pag-uusapan niya ngayon para sa mga investors natin dyan, is PLDT. Nako, Sino ba
Paakitin na
yung
natin.
sino ba yung ano ko ngayon, yung service provider ko ngayon?
Hello, on the
Wala na.
spot ka, Sir Japhet. Pero first of all, parang meron tayong gustong i-reveal kay Japhet tungkol sa mga hugot niya, partner Warren. Ano ba to? First, ako na magre-reveal nito o ikaw?
Sige, ikaw na. Go
Okay.
for it.
Sir Japhet, nagsisir ako eh. Ako yata yung super tanda na dito sa grupo na to. Balita ko, mahilig ka rin sa hugot bago tayo pumunta sa PLDT. Kunwari, itong post mo, sabi mo, ano yung alpha error? The error of concluding there is something when in fact there is nothing. Guys, nagets nyo ba yon? Tinitingnan ko kayo sa Kumu, press 1 kung naintindihan nyo. Sa Facebook, sa YouTube, sabi niya alpha error. Yung beta error naman, the error of concluding there is nothing when in fact there is something. Nakakahabol pa ba kayo? How many beta errors have we committed in fear of committing alpha errors? How many that should have been have we let go because of trying to avoid wrong conclusions? Ang tanong namin, Japhet, ilang beses mo na itong ginamit sa date?
Date? Ano po ba yun? Hindi ko po alam yun eh. Naya tuloy ako sa mga stat majors. Grabe. But sige, to give a little bit of a background, all my hugot is saying is, learn to take risk. Okay, learn to take risk. Kasi, for example, sige, let's go out of the investment markets muna. Let's say you fell for someone. You're a guy and you fell for someone, right? When you fall for someone, there's this tendency na you get preoccupied with this thought na baka wala naman akong pag-asa sa kanya eh. There might be nothing significant between the two of us. Wala naman akong pag-asa sa kanya eh. What if, especially friend mo tong tao.
Ito yung alpha error.
Kasi
sinasabi mo, ayaw mo umasa ng may something kasi wala naman.
When you say alpha error is when you're assuming. There could be something between us. Baka pwede to. Baka may pag-asa to. But in reality, wala naman. Beta error is mukhang wala naman akong pag-asa diyan eh. But what if? Yun nga, what if? What if meron pala talaga? It just so happens na you're not taking the risk. So how are you going to find out? You take the risk. You go to the other, you cross the bridge, you go to the other side, sabihin mo, i-lay down yung intentions mo, diba? And then that's where you get to know if it's really significant or yun.
Ay, may natutunan ako. Grabe.
Grabe ka, salve talaga. On the spot mo talaga si Japhet.
Hindi ko alam kung bakit tuwang-tuwa ako dito sa portion na to. So geeky. Anyway, ayan. So, hindi ko nga alam, Japhet, kung ginagamit mo to sa mga dates mo. Hi, Fleshy!
Try natin.
Andito ang Fleshy Wee. Nanonood. At ang Lala Remando. At ang Usapang Echo. Grabe. Ang high profile ng ating mga viewers, Japhet. Anyway, let's go. So, anyway, let's go to your stock spotlight of the week. Bakit bet mo ang PLDT na nagiging reason bakit paasa si Warren?
Oo nga, grabe. Dalawang
Ala ka, on the spot.
Warren, sorry na po. Sorry na po.
Go.
Okay, go, let's go.
Well, with PLDT kasi, first and foremost, let's go with what happened in 2020. In 2020, as we all know, the economy went into a recession. So bumagsak na si economy. And as the economy fell, yung mga companies natin, a lot of our companies, that's what all, they shared the same story. Bumagsak din sila. Bumagsak yung revenue, bumagsak yung earnings. But it's a different story with respect to PLDT. So PLDT bucked the trend. In fact, noong 2020, nung nagkaroon ng recession with the economy, si PLDT, yung service revenues niya, it went up by 7.6% year-on-year. And yung net income niya, it also grew by 7.9% year-on-year. Kasi nga naman, last year, as you were talking about a while ago, we had a lot of lockdowns last year. And since you had lockdowns, you had no other choice. If I want to meet with someone, I had to do it with internet. Let's say, it's from as simple as if merong magjowa na gusto mag-usap, merong barrier, so they just have to do it through the internet, or it could be as complex as, you have business people who want to do a meeting. Unfortunately, they can't do it in the office, so they just have to use the internet. So there was strong internet, there was strong data service last year, and this is what helped PLDT's earnings performance for 2020. And what's good is this 2021, there are signs that it could keep that growth. Okay? Kasi in the first half of 2021, ganun pa rin si PLDT. It was still able to increase both its revenue and its net income. So service revenue niya, first half of 2021, it's up by 9.7% year-on-year. Net income is up by 5.2% year-on-year. So hindi to katulad nung yung pinag-usapan nyo kanina, the economy na medyo paasa, kasi nga we came from a low base and then bigla mag-grow ng malaki. This time around, it's PLDT is different kasi PLDT was already coming from a year where nag-grow siya. Nag-grow yung revenue, nag-grow yung earnings, and then this 2021, nag-grow pa rin siya. Nag-grow pa rin yung earnings and yung revenue and yung earnings. So yun. Another thing that's good with PLDT is yung kanyang return on equity. I think this is one of the gauges that investors are usually looking at. Yung return on equity niya in the first half as of the first half of 2021 on a trailing 12-month basis. So it's at 21%. And this is high compared to its 5-year average, which is at 17.5%. Now, another thing, now the last thing siguro that I can say about PLDT for now is yun nga, it's a bargain. Kasi again, for those who are already investment savvy, yung mga tumitingin sa tinatawag natin mga PE ratio, price to earnings ratio. So yung price to earnings ratio niya as of Friday, it's at 11.08 times, which is far below its 5-year average of 14.63 times. So what is this saying? It's simply telling us na PLDT is already at a bargain level. So cheap na siya. This is something that you can look into. Pwede mo siyang pulutin kasi nga talagang it's really at bargain levels compared to its historical performance. So that's the PLDT story.
Partner, may dalawang question ako kay Japhet.
Go. Sige, go. Buelo.
Yung unang question regarding that. So, nakita mo rin, no? So, you're saying na PLDT had a good year last year and it's going to have a better year this year. Regarding the earnings of the other corporations, no, na they all had bad earnings last year and now ang ganda ng mga report. So, yung tanong ko sa iyo, paasa rin ba yung mga earnings reports nila this year? Yun yung first question ko. Tapos yung second question ko, bakit PLDT? Bakit hindi yung
Converge.
Converge or Globe? Okay.
Well, with respect to the first question, yeah, somehow we can also say the same for our other corporate earnings. Kasi if makikita nyo, mataas talaga. Most of our corporate earnings, they posted in the second quarter, in the first half. They also posted talagang earning surges. When you say earning surges, mga double-digit growths, both in revenue and net income. But it's a similar story compared to the economy. This is mostly driven by base effects. Okay, so they were coming from a low base last year, and they are coming from a low base last year, which is why sobrang taas nung itinas nila this year. But of course, there are, not all companies naman. There were still companies that were able to post really, there's really quality. There's really quality in their earnings performance. With respect to the second question, why PLDT? Why not the others like Globe or Converge or the new entrant, which is Dito, which is right now being represented by the company that's in the process of acquiring it, which is Dito CME. PLDT kasi it has a very good performance. Tapos another thing is it's a bargain level, so it's cheap. And then this is compared to the others. If you're going to look at them, PLDT, Globe, and then Converge, and then D2CME, PE ratio wise, PLDT has one of the lowest. In fact, as far as my memory serves me right, it is the lowest amongst the four. So if pipili ka kung sino yung pinakamura sa tatlo, that would be PLDT, price to earnings wise. Now, if you're going to look at it kasi, another thing, if you're going to look at PLDT, what's good with PLDT is balanced siya. It has both the fixed line and the wireless segment. Same story with Globe, almost. So when we're talking about quality of where your revenues are coming from, they're both almost the same. Unlike with Converge, mostly fixed, it's fixed line talaga. Whereas for Dito, which is the new entrant, so more on mobile pa lang siya. So you're going to see there that ayun nga, PLDT has this diversification advantage, which is one of the things that's going to help the firm moving forward. And then finally, of course, you cannot deny the other advantages of PLDT, like yun nga, it's already well entrenched, just similar to Globe. PLDT is already well entrenched in the telecommunications industry. Matagal na siya dito. It has a lot of, it already has a lot of in its war chest na pwede niyang gamitin in order to expand further, and which makes its prospects brighter. So
I was going to point out nga na in the last 20, 30, 40, 30 years, parang it's virtually a monopoly of PLDT, diba? Both in landline and eventually internet. Pero how protected is it? How is its moat when it comes to in the near future? I mean, you might probably see even more entrants coming into the sector. How protected is it from competition?
Ayun, with respect to that, yes, that is one of the risks that we can consider with PLDT moving forward, especially right now that somehow na nag-i-ease na ng restrictions or na nag-i-ease na ng regulations with respect to the telecommunications industry. And in fact, yun nga, the government is being supportive of more entrants. So yes, it's a risk for PLDT moving forward, the tighter competition. But then again, as I mentioned, yun nga, it already has a long year of experience, and it's something, this long year of experience is something that it can draw from. And ayun, the advantage of, yun nga, one of the advantages of being a first mover kasi is, yun nga, you're already there, you're already in the industry. So all you have to do, unlike yung mga new entrants, they have to start from scratch, they have to start from bottom, just like what we're seeing with Dito right now. Na yun nga, talagang he's starting from scratch. He's little by little building his share in the telecommunications industry. With
Ang mahal maglagay ng kable,
Yun, ang mahal. That's one. Oh, yun. But with PLDT, yun nga, my assets are already here. I already have this strong market, this big market share. Now, all I have to do is protect it. And how can I protect it? Unlike the others na, yun nga, they have to start from scratch and doing a lot of capex. Ako, all I have to do is further expand. With further expansion, further improvement of my services, yun, mapoprotektahan ko siya.
Is this more a long-term play for you or merong short-term upside also?
Well, for me, PLDT is more of a long-term play. So if you are a trader, most likely PLDT PLDT is not for you. But if you are a long-term investor, then ayun, for me, I would really recommend PLDT.
Kasi nakasale.
Si Warren, nakasale. Bargain prices.
Bargain.
Si Warren, ang long-term niyan, 5 years. Ako, ang long-term ko, 30 years.
Kaya naman na po siguro yun.
Sige. Na Warren?
May tanong ako. Ito, yung sa GDP. So, para sa iyo.
Okay, paakitin muna natin si JC para sabay-sabay na. And then we can already start looking at questions from the audience. So please, lahat ng may katanungan, Facebook, Kumu, and YouTube, bagsak nyo na dyan. Pwede rin kasama yung gifts. Oy, nakita ko si Lola Dali, marunong na daw siya bumili ng coin sa Kumu para makabagsak daw siya sa atin.
Para makapabigay ng
nagsisend na nga siya ng ha. Alright, tatanong natin kay Japhet yung
tanong
GDP.
ko lang kay Japhet, yung sa GDP. Okay, so for you, Japhet, yung nakita mo yung 11.8% GDP, paasa ba yun or is it encouraging for you?
For me, I'd have to I'd go with what Sir JC said. Na medyo paasa siya. Kasi it's really the real reason. Many economists were already expecting it, and in fact, ayun, even us, our projection is it's going to grow at sa amin is it was around 9 to 10% our projection But yun nga, it came at 11.8. But nonetheless, it was already expected that it's gonna grow by high figures because of low base effects. But ayun nga, if you really want to, one way to look at it is yun nga, the seasonally adjusted on a seasonally adjusted basis. And if you're going to look at it quarter and quarter, yun nga, we declined 1.3%. So there's what this is saying is yung recovery natin, it may still be unstable. There's still a lot of challenges moving forward. And ayun nga, aside from we had the lockdown in the second quarter, which caused that seasonally adjusted quarter and quarter decline. And moving into the third quarter, ito na naman, we're back with the same story, another lockdown, which puts our third quarter economy at risk. And ayun nga, I'd like to enforce that if you really want a full picture of the economy, don't just look at GDP. Look at other figures. You look at inflation rate. So as you can see, inflation rate is elevated compared to last year. And then if you're going to look at unemployment rate, our unemployment figures, many are, we have high figures, but many are also because of part-time jobs. So ayun. So moving forward, what I can say with the second quarter figures is, yes, it's showing us signs of progress, but it's still not enough to say that we really have that strong recovery already. We're not yet out of the woods. Ayun.
Konting tumbling pa ganun.
Konting tumbling pa.
Bilis-bilisan pa natin yung pagtatumbling. Wait, konting shout out din muna tayo, partner Warren, ikaw na muna. Shout out ka sa mga followers mo.
Ay, syempre, shout out sa yung mga taga Lasal. Thank you so much for having me yesterday. We had this webinar on investment scams, and I think about 100 DLSU students were there. So thank you so much for having me. I really enjoyed talking to you guys. I hope you're here also again kasi in-invite ko naman sila, Salve, para manood kasi ang dami nilang tanong. Naubos yung oras namin sa mga tanong nila.
Question and answer. Alam mo, nakakatuwa talaga yung mga kabataan ngayon. They're very interested in finances and economics. Kaya yan, si JC, yung usapang eco niya, lagi kong nafa-follow yung Twitter and YouTube eh. O, di ba? Noon pa, last year ko pa sinimulan i-follow yan kasi napaka-interesting din nung when you laymanize things, I think viewers or ordinary Filipinos who are more empowered when it comes to financial information make better decisions. Etong mga sinasabi ni JC tsaka ni Japhet, partner Warren, ang parang sa akin, ang takeaway ko, racket pa more tayo. Kasi mukhang mahaba pa yung tatakbuhin ng ating ekonomiya bago bumalik sa dati. Kailangan ayusin natin yung personal economy natin kasi kulang pa yung national economy, di ba? Konting effort pa tayo, guys. Konting shout out din. Nandito po ang Pleshiwi nanonood. Lala Rimando, ang usapang
Hello,
Econ. Si Rem Abalos, gusto niya ng yan, ang Lala Rimando. Gusto ni Rem Abalos ng financial plan. Ayun. Tapos, marami pong nagtatanong kung pwede din sila. Ang dami nag-press 1. Andito din po ang Charming's Angels. Di ba? Meron ng Charming's Angels, may Class Fam on Kumu, at ang Salves Angels. Meron na rin.
Wow, Salves Angels.
Oo, pero maraming nagmamine kay Warren dito sa totoo lang. Feeling ko maya-maya. Meron na rin si Japhet tsaka si JC.
Meron kanina si Japhet kasi hindi na naintindihan yung hugot niya. Oo. Hindi na naintindihan yung hugot eh. Hindi na naintindihan. So, na-explain, okay.
Sabi dito,
may question tayo.
Hindi, wait. Sabi sa Kumu, ang technical naman daw ng hugot mo, Japhet.
Ayun.
Wait. Bago dun sa tanong, I think it's nice also to ask all, di ba? Si Lola Dalian. Uy, may Salvenatics. It's also nice to ask, yung mga economists and financial analysts like you, paano kayo nakikipag-small talk sa date?
Bumalik na naman tayo doon.
Wala experience sa date.
Talaga, Pleshy. Tatanong ko si Pleshy kung hindi ka nag-date.
Ayun, dumadami na naman yung mga one, no? Yung mga
hoping pa lang. Pero
okay. Guys, available.
Ito na yung question natin.
Auction po namin si Japhet mamaya sa ending.
Grabe. Ito, para kay Japhet and JC. Question po, ano po ang effect ng GDP sa mga stocks and market sentiment ngayon may Delta variant? Okay, for Japhet, si Japhet muna.
Okay. What's the ano yung effect ng GDP sa stock market in general?
Mm.
Okay. Remember, the market kasi, the stock market, you can consider this as a barometer of the expectations of investors with respect to what's going to happen what's going to happen to the overall economy. In short, stock market, of course, meron rin namang may mga fundamental and technical factors. But aside from that, there's also the expectation. So the stock market is really more on the what investors are expecting with respect to the overall economy. Now, right now, again, we are on a lockdown. We are on a lockdown because of the Delta variant. So the fear there is if this lockdown, the current lockdown that we have, it's already expected to give us economic losses. And if this is prolonged, of course, we're going to receive deeper economic scars. Yan. And of course, investors are going to price that in. Once they price in that, you can say that gloomy economic outlook because of what's happening right now, tendencies, they're going to sell stocks. So yun yung magiging overall impact niya. With this expectations, with this uncertainties on the economic outlook, this is going to be priced in by investors, and the resulting effect is yun nga, the market could go down because of selling pressures.
But if you're a long-term investor, do you buy that uncertainty? I mean, if you know that eventually the economy is gonna go up and lagi namang umaakit, di ba? Hindi naman yan. Laging sinasabi magdo-doomsday ang stock market, di ba, JC? nakita na natin to decades and decades, nagdo-doomsday, pero umaakit din naman. So do you buy that uncertainty?
Well, if you are a long-term investor, yes, you can accumulate, but best if you can accumulate at medyo magiging technical ako. Best if you'd be able to accumulate at strong support levels. So strong support levels, ito yung in technical analysis, ito yung sinasabi nila a point where in which na kapag bumabagsak ang isang stock, sinasalo siya. Talagang there's the concentration of buyers there, sinasalo siya doon. So best accumulate at strongly determined support levels. So kung titignan mo si general market, si PSCI, nito lang nakaraan this Friday. So bumagsak na siya below 6,400. 6,400 was we consider that as a strong support level. Unfortunately, bumagsak siya below that. Given that, my advice is let's wait and see muna. Let's wait and see what's going to happen. Ang next support na nakikita namin for the general market is 6,100 to 6,160. So abangan natin yon. There are two possible ways in which you can get into the market. First is if bumagsak pa si market to that 6,100 to 6,160 level, tapos i-hold niyo yun. If it holds that level, if hindi na siya babagsak below that, then yeah, we may accumulate shares, okay? Another possible scenario is if makabalik siya dun sa 6.4. If it could regain its ground at 6.4, mabawi niya yun, tapos hindi na siya babagsak ulit, itetest niya, tapos hindi na siya babagsak ulit, then that's another signal that we can look into the market, we can buy into the market again.
Ayun na, humuhugot na sila sa kumo. Ang totoong gwapo, marunong mag-fundamental at technical analysis. Okay, JC, makisagot naman yan. May ano ka ba? Would you like to weigh in here? Do you think people should invest even when the economy is not as strong?
Actually, hindi ako eksperto sa stock market. And in fact, marami ekonomista ang hindi masyadong titingin. Kasi, hindi kasi perfect din yung correlation sa paggalaw ng stock market doon sa totoong nangyayari sa real economy. Pero having said that, sasabihin ko ay importante din talaga yung expectations na siyang focus ng stock market din. No? Kasi for example, lumalabas din sa ibang statistics. Like for example, yung sa Consumer Expectation Survey ng BSP, kung saan lugmok pa rin siya. So walang kumpiyansa pa rin yung maraming tao sa ekonomiya. And then of course, meron yung mga welfare indicators din ng SWS, yung projections sila sa anong tingin nila yung mangyayari sa buhay nila in the future. For example, in the next quarter, in the next year. At marami pa rin talagang pessimistic sa lagay ng ekonomiya at hindi tinutulungan ng latest GDP figures yung ganong klaseng sentiment. So I think kailangan talaga on the part of, overall kailangan talagang maboost yung consumer confidence para mabuhay yung ekonomiya natin. Pero kailangan nun na merong sapat na vaccination, mabilis na vaccination, as well as Yung ayuda din, I think makakatulong din yun kasi maraming mga tao ang simple lang naman ang problema na wala ng trabaho at kita. Paano mo nga naasahan na makarecover yung ekonomiya kung walang panggastos yung mga tao? So I guess in the coming months and years, importante na tuloy-tuloy yung pag-provide ng gobyerno sa ayuda. Unfortunately, medyo nagtitipid yung gobyerno natin, pero kailangan sabayan din yun ng mas mabilis pa na vaccination para bumalik yung consumer confidence.
Oo nga, sana yung ayuda katulad sa US, no? Dadating na lang sa bank account natin, di ba?
Ay, gusto ko tanongin kay Japhet actually. Japhet, yung ayuda ng yung stimulus sa US, that became something of a market mover in the United States, sa stock market mismo. Sa tingin mo ba yung ayuda natin, bakit kaya hindi pinapansin ng stock market natin? Hindi siya nagkakaroon ng ganung klaseng effect?
Natinga lang daw kasi. Ikaw naman eh. Guys, wait lang. Press 1 sa lahat ng nakatanggap ng ayuda. Gusto ko lang makita sa mga nanonood dito. Facebook, YouTube, Kumu, press 1 sa mga nakatanggap ng ayuda. Parang walang magpipress 1, guys.
Ito may 2. Ano ibig sabihin ng 2?
Press 2, wala. Meron pang hugot yan. Sir Japhet, stock market ka ba? Kasi kahit na tumaas ka o bumaba, nasa sentro ka pa din ng puso ko. Grabe yun.
Ano ba yan?
Yeah, may mga follow-up questions. May number po ba kayo sa PSEI dyan sa strong support level? Oo, kung 6'4 daw ba yan?
I think 6'4 nga sabi mo, Japhet, ano?
Yun, sige, unahin ko muna yung sa support levels again with the stock market in general. Kakabagsak lang po niya na 6'4, so let's look at the next support which is 6'1 to 6'160.
Oh, kasi
and then
6'3 na.
Ngayon, if makabalik man siya sa 6'4 and it holds its ground at that level, the 6'4 will be our support. But until then, 6'4 will be our resistance and 6'1 to 6'160 will be our support. And then, ayun, going to Sir Warren's question, why is it na hindi na-appreciate yung ayuda na ibinibigay ng government? Siguro because the market is looking not just at the ayuda, but it's also looking into other factors. It's looking at many factors in the economy. Remember that the stock market is forward-looking. Yung ayuda, it's going to help us now. Okay, if it's going to be given, it's going to help the economy now. It's going to give us a short-run boost. But what the market is really looking into is the long run. What's going to happen to the economy in the future? Now, yun nga, and if we're talking about the long run, of course, we're talking about mako-contain ba itong Delta variant, mabibilis ba yung ating vaccination program to the point na, yun nga, what they're saying is before the year ends, we're going to have herd immunity, we'll be able to achieve that. And yun nga, tulad ng sabi ni Sir JC, babalik na ba yung consumer and business confidence? Because right now, that's one of the key problems in the economy. You have low consumer confidence, no one, not much is willing to spend. So in turn, you have low aggregate demand. At the same time, you have low business confidence, not much is willing to invest. So again, it's also contributing to a low aggregate demand. Plus, if there's not much who are willing to invest, then wala tayong masyadong nape-prepare for our productive capacity. So it sets us up for a lower long-term trend. So that's the problem there. So yeah, and then ayun nga, add that yes, the ayuda. So you have the ayuda, but
hindi masyadong impressed yung market sa ayuda no?
Yeah. Plus, ayun nga, again, the market is forward-looking. So one of the problems that they're seeing is, okay, so you have the ayuda now, but where is that coming from? Of course, that's coming from what? Debt. And that is
babayaran din
for in the future. So that's another thing that market is, looking into.
Natutuwa ako sa expression ni JC. Kasi I talk to a lot of economists, tapos yun nga, nakita ko yung sinabi nila, Japhet, Warren and JC, na the stock market is a graph of rich people's feelings. At ito, nag-aabang na po yung ating mga viewers, mag-aabang daw sila sa strong resistance. Anyway, thank you so much guys for being with us tonight. We're very happy that you came on screen with us. This is a show that also takes into consideration yung feelings ng ating mga Facebook, YouTube at Kumu viewers. That's why we really want them to see you and talk to you personally. Guys, could you tell them where to find you? Kunwari si JC, si Japhet, paano kayo, pwede ba kayo i-contact ng mga tao. Saan nila kayo mapapanood? Baka may regular shows kayo. Or streams. Baka nagla-live stream kayo. Pleshi, papa-live stream ko na to si Japhet.
Na all
Sir
ng feelings
JC.
ako consider.
Ang galing ng mga hugot mo. Tuwang-tuwa ako. Sir JC, saan ka nila mapapanood? Ano daw shampoo mo?
Oo nga,
Ay,
yung shampoo brand mo daw.
Sabi ako ay nagsusulat sa Rappler, so meron akong weekly column doon. At Usapang Econ, follow nyo rin kami. Meron kaming podcast, explainer video sa YouTube, and then mag-usap tayo sa Facebook at Twitter, at JC Punongbayan.
Alright. And Sir Japhet?
Ayun, for me naman, yun, you just, to get in touch, yun nga, you can message Philstocks. That's engagement@philstocks.ph. So yun, you can reach us via that email. Yun, through that email. Now, if you want to open an account with us to enjoy the services of our research team, then you can always contact us through sales@philstocks.ph as well as info@philstocks.ph. So ayun.
Ayan,
And
pwede
ayun,
na mag-open ng account ulit?
Yep.
Hmm.
Pwede na po.
Pwede na. At saka may IG kayo, di ba? Ay, siguro kay Japhet nang gagaling yung mga hugot ng IG nyo. Kasi ang hugot ng Philstocks IG, no? Grabe yung mga post nyo.
Ano
Ano po,
nakakatawa yung mga ibang brokers, ganun din. Meron silang mga hugot na nakakalusot sa Twitter at saka IG.
grabe.
Oo nga. Masaya ka. Sabi niya, grabe. Available pa po ba sila pa date? Okay. Partner Warren,
Ayun.
final words.
Ayan, so I'm so happy about yung show natin tonight. Yung guest natin, it's very clear that there are people out there who want to help all of you understand everything around you better so that you can earn more money. You can capitalize on what's going on around you. Si JC, I really like na nagtatagalog siya para ma-explain yung mga konsepto niya sa economics. And Japhet, nako, I'm sure Sir June would be proud of you. Ang galing-galing mo ma-explain ng mga ng mga konsepto mo at saka yung mga forecast mo. People, our viewers, thank you so much for listening in. Again, please ask us questions. View us every weekend. Saturday Night Live, 8 p.m. on YouTube, Kumu, and Facebook. You can also find me on Twitter. And of course, I still report for ABS-CBN. We're still around. Ginagawa pa rin namin yung trabaho namin. So you can find economic updates there from me. So thank you so much. And please keep on being... keep asking questions so para naman makinabang kayo sa mga nangyayari, lalo na sa stock market.
Yes. Tuloy pa din po ang On the Money. Pero yung napapanood nyo po doon, medyo payat-payat pa ako kasi puro mga replay po yun. Pero mataba pa din. Anyway, thank you so much for everybody. Alam mo, every week, I get a lot of people sending us questions on Salvis's social media accounts, and they keep telling us na kung hindi dahil dun sa mga financial information that they watch on TV. So, Japhet, yung JC, yung mga ginagawa ninyo really help people when it comes to managing their expectations, their efforts, and everything that they do. Their basic decision-making process is best to be guided kung merong mga conversations na katulad nito na talagang binababa yung usapin sa sikmura ng ordinaryong individual, di ba? So this is our advocacy. I would like to let you know that we will be here every Saturday, 8 to 9 p.m. Kung napapansin nyo, yung mga magka-classmate dito, inaabangan talaga nila yung show every Saturday because they say they learn a lot from it and it results to more earnings also for them. Ayan. Kaya please follow us if you haven't yet. Subscribe to our YouTube channel so that you know when we're going to go live. And then subscribe also to Facebook, IG, Twitter, at marami pa tayong mga bagong contents na dadating. At I am sure, press 1 kayo kung gusto nyong pabalikin. At sana may oras pa si Sir JC at si Sir Japhet. At syempre, hindi mabubuo to kung wala si partner Warren lagi. So thank you everyone. Maraming salamat. Hope you have a nice weekend. Please stay safe and stay saving and investing. Keep on saving and investing. Bye guys! Thank
Bye,
you so
guys.
much.
Bye
Maraming
po.
salamat.
Thank you very much po.
you.